Okay guys, so we've kind of covered a lot. So we started off with March 5th of 1770 with the Boston Massacre. We've gone through 73, 74, not much happened. 75 was a pretty busy year. Now, basically after the battles of Lexington and Concord and the Battle of Bunker Hill, this was actually all known as part of the Siege of Boston. Now, Washington, this was about the time that Washington was made into the commander-in-chief of the Continental Army. So this was, sometime, around the Battle of Bunker Hill. So some sources have been telling me that it was the, 14th, the 15th, the 16th, the 17th, the 18th, the 19th, the 20th of June. I can tell you that it happened in June of 1775, and he was actually on his way up here. He was actually supposed to meet with General Joseph Warren when he got to Boston, but unfortunately, as you've already seen, Warren was killed at the Battle of Bunker Hill. And Washington, when he got here, so the Continentals had the city of Boston surrounded. So they have Cambridge, they had Charlestown, they had Dorchester, they had this area surrounded, but they didn't really have the forces needed to push the British out, the regular British army out. So we had the Siege of Boston. Now, the Siege of Boston officially started on the Battle of at Lexington and Concord, and that was in April of 75, all the way through March 17th of 1776. So we're talking over a year of siege. Now, in January of 76, due to some other missions that Washington had his generals on, General Knox was able to bring cannons from Fort Ticonderoga over to Boston. And they started placing these cannons around the city. Now, the British regulars knew about the Dorchester guns and spent a lot of time focusing on that position. However, when he woke up on the morning of the 17th and saw that how many guns were stationed in Charleston and Dorchester and surrounding the entire city, this position was no longer defendable. Even the British ships were at risk from this new Continental Army position. Washington played a very strong hand and was able to get the British to voluntarily leave. They actually left Boston altogether. Now, this is March of 1776. There has not been an official declaration of independence yet. It hasn't officially happened yet. But they have just forced the British to flee. The British are not going to take this lying down, and the British are preparing. They're preparing for retaliation, and in a big way. The British were heading to New York. Washington kind of had foresight on that and was actually heading to New York to meet them. And the war really gets going in September of 1776 when the British start firing onto New York City, taking over the city of New York after the Battle of Brooklyn, Battle of Long Island, forcing Washington to retreat to Manhattan and then eventually to New Jersey. But that basically concludes, the events here in Boston, specifically around the American Revolution, what led up to the American Revolution. After the siege is lifted and Washington takes the city, basically Boston is an American city. They hold it for primarily the remainder of the conflict. The British primarily stay in New York, with the exception of a few guys that head down south. But for the most part, the war pretty much takes place between New York City and the Chesapeake Bay in the Carolinas. So that's basically the part of the war that Boston was involved in. So thank you very much for watching all of this. Hope you had a great 4th of July. And please check out my other videos. I'm doing historical videos about all these, different places and things all the time. This one was kind of a short, fast-paced video after video after video, just getting all these locations in. I will eventually be doing the history of this Capitol building behind me. Oddly enough, it's actually built on John Hancock's cow pasture. at least the majority of it, and then some additions later on. Actually, they ended up tearing down his house, and then the development that was supposed to go there never happened. They ended up building an addition over what was once John Hancock's house, you know, a former governor of the state of Massachusetts. But thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tour all the way out to Concord and back, and the fireworks. So until next time, stay healthy, stay wealthy, and as always, stay wise, America.